There's a topic in Chapter 9 called the Relative Sales Value Method, and I want to go over it and demonstrate it with Exercise 8, mostly because we'll see this concept in a couple other chapters down the road. So I want us to address it here with inventory, and we'll see the same idea with other assets that we study. To begin with, here's the problem. The company bought three kinds of inventory: lounge chairs, armchairs, and straight chairs, and here's the volume of each. They bought it with one check, so they've got all these different kinds of goods, and they paid $59,850, one lump amount for it. So the big question is, how much of that $59,850 should go to the inventory of lounge chairs? How much applies to the inventory for armchairs? How much applies to the inventory for straight chairs? So this really is a cost allocation assignment. How do we allocate the cost? Well, one way is really just use the sales price. So they estimate they can sell the lounge chairs for $90 each, armchairs for $80, straight chairs for $50. So we figure out what's the total sales price of each of these type of goods. So we're just taking the volume times the sales price for one to get the total sales price for each of these. Now we have a base that we can allocate cost, because we can see lounge chairs is 36 out of the 95th total, armchairs are 24 out of 95 of the total, and straight chairs are 35 out of 95 of the total sales price. So we just use those fractions. This solutions manual put it in thousands, but really 36,000 divided by 95,000 is the same thing as saying 36 over 95. So I could just cut the fraction down. So we arrive at these fractions, and of course those fractions, if I add 36, 24, and 95, I'll get 95 out of 95, or 95,000 out of 95,000, 100%. Then we just take that times the actual cost, the amount paid. So now I can see I'm going to allocate of the $59,850, $22,680 will be allocated to the lounge chairs. So I'm just taking the fraction times the total to get the cost allocated to each of these types of merchandise. Okay, and of course the subcomponents are going to total to the sum of all. Then the other thing they saw for was the cost per chair. So for the lounge chairs, we have total cost $22,680. Divide that by the number of chairs, 400, and we get our $56.70. And I do likewise for each of the others. The armchairs, take the total divided by the quantity, and you'll get $50.40. So that's just arriving at, that's what's going to go if we had three different inventory accounts for these type of merchandise. This goes in the lounge chair inventory, this will go in the armchair inventory, this will go in the straight chair inventory. Now the next part of this exercise asked us to solve for gross profit. And they give us the sales amount, or actually I guess they don't. You solve for it. $90 for the lounge chair. If they sold 200 of those, that'll give us $18,000 in sales. So again, I'm just taking the quantity sold times the selling price to get the sales volume. And they do that for all three of those. Quantity of 100 times $80 gives us our $8,000. 120 volume times our $50 gives us $6,000. So we get the sales price that way. We also get the cost per chair. We take these costs, bring them over here, take volume times my cost, and I'll get the total cost of the chair. And of course, gross profit, as you know, is just taking sales less cost of the goods to arrive at gross profit. And you're done. So again, this idea of allocating costs based on relative sales price, we'll see that with inventory, but down the road when we get to other chapters on other kinds of assets, we'll see the same sort of concept. So you might as well get it done and get it understood now.